Hello everyone, welcome to eLife, and today we have with us Ceeyus, who is a game designer by profession. So welcome Ceeyus, and thank you for
Hello.
joining us.
Yeah, happy to be here. Nice to
So
meet you, Abhigyan.
thank you. So in this video we will be talking about how can an individual become a game designer in India.
Hmm.
So as you have been in this profession, so I think you are the one who can guide us with clarity. So
Yeah, yeah.
okay, let's start this session. And my first question to you would be that whenever we hear the term game, and designing, so two terms that come to our mind. One is game development, and one is game designing. So
Hmm.
how these two terms are different?
So, game development, although it's a broad term, usually it refers to game programming.
Okay.
So, it's more of a coding related, what do you say, perspective. Um, Usually, when colleges say they teach game development, it would be game programming. Game design is about the rules of the game, how you can create. Players can engage with as a player you might have played many games, but only some games you would have actually liked.
Mhm.
Uh, some games are more enjoyable than the others. The reason behind is one of the reasons behind it could be it is well designed. The rule sets are set in a way that the player is getting really interested and motivated psychologically to spend more hours into the game. The gameplay is designed so that it is fair to all players, um,
Okay.
and there are no exploits and no other issues inside the game. So game designers look at all these aspects. Also, like if it's a mobile game which is free to play, what would make this game sell? What would make a player who is playing for free? What would make them spend money in it? Or say you're designing game for different age groups. Some games are designed or targeted towards like for example Candy Crush is targeted primarily towards 50 plus female audience or um, elder female population.
Okay.
Of course other people do play it, but this is their primary audience. So this is in contrast to something like PUBG, which is like male 30 to 40 or 20 to 40 age group, which is its primary audience. So how do you change the design to make it interesting for these type of players? How to make sure that these players come back day after day after day? How do you tell a story or give a new experience to the player? Those kind of things are handled in game design. So in our day to day, the work would involve like coming up with a theme and concept and basic rules for the game, then communicating it to rest of the departments. There will be a art department, there will be a programming department, there will be testing, there will be senior management, all these people. Game designers pitch a concept to these people and get it approved. Once the concept is approved, then you start developing the design much in detail, and then slowly you make a small prototype, have a internal play testing sessions,
Okay.
get that approved, and then slowly build upon it. And also there is documentation. You create this game design document which is shared to rest of the team for them to refer, and then add in their contributions. So a game artist would look at the game design document and start creating the art based on certain styles, whether it should be cartoony style, whether it should be realistic, whether it should be what do you say, 3D, 2D, all these things kind of like start from there.
Okay.
I hope I have answered your question about like few more things about game programming. First part is the what do you say? There is of course a front end and back end. There is also server. So These are the like major categories of game programming. So once the design is there, they build in the functionality through code. There is also certain niche departments like graphics programming who creates shaders and certain kind of visual effects within the games.
I could say that game design game designing is the first step in the development of a game,
Hmm.
right? So could you elaborate on like the games that you have developed, or in which you have worked or you have created? So could you elaborate what were the initial first steps, or how did you started, and what are the things that you have to keep in mind while developing or while designing the game? Important factors that will
Yeah,
affect the game.
the first step is to figure out who you are designing it for, uh, basically the target audience. In the end of the day, it's a product that you're selling to the people. You are not making your game for yourself unless it's some kind of indie game or a self project. You're usually making it for some group of people primarily. So the first part is about figuring that group out. What do they like? What kind of games do they play? What kind of game elements, mechanics do they enjoy? Um, and then based on that you do some research, some studies on certain ideas. You start creating new mechanics. How, like, say, long ago there was games like Dota, which was like um, MOBA, massively multiplayer online battle arena kind of games, where you form a team of 5 people, and then there is a tower or an ancient that you need to destroy in order to win, and also there's an ancient that you need to defend, which is your tower, in order to win the game.
Hmm.
So, for example, the game Clash Royale. I don't know whether you have played it. It's one of the popular games out there.
Yeah, yeah,
So what they took was they took the idea of protecting your tower from games like Dota, and then there was other games like Hearthstone, which is a card collecting game.
yeah.
You collect cards and then have battles using powers of these cards. Um, so they combined the concepts of these two games and created Clash Royale, which was a new concept, and released into mobile. Until then, there was no game similar to Clash Royale at that point in time. So, like that, you combine ideas. Then, once you have a basic idea in place, you create something called as a one-pager document. It's a very brief pitch or very brief concept about the game. This gets pitched to the senior management in the company. If they approve it, or if it is an independent studio, then you and your colleagues, if everyone kind of like likes the concept, you further expand this one pager document to a concept document. Concept document might be a few pages long, much more detailed. It talks about various aspects, including a little bit about visual style, little bit about the different gameplay elements, the rules, what would make this game fun, what would make this game stand out from other games in the market. These kind of things are detailed out, and maybe some amount of costing. Like, it will need, say, a year of development time to make it, for example. And then you again share it to the team. Then this gets ironed out. Then you work on a small prototype or an MVP, minimum viable prototype, and then that again gets tested multiple times within the team, collecting feedback. Then you slowly make one more pitch, and then you get a go no go sign from the senior management to start full fledged development in it. Once that approval is made, you develop it further, and then if it's a mobile game these days, you do something called as a soft launch,
Yes.
where you release a game without much marketing at all, and see how the players organically are playing it. Those kind of things. So once these things are ironed out, once you get results from your soft launch, you make full marketing and full advertising for the game, and then you release it to the public as a full-fledged version.
So, yeah. So, sir, when did you thought of becoming a game designer?
My story actually starts in like school time. I used to have a lot of free periods in school, and I used to come up with some board games or stuff like that. Have you heard of hand cricket? Do you guys used to play hand cricket in school time?
Yes, I
You
have.
shown
Yeah,
numbers like this and all.
yeah. We have played that.
Yeah,
It
so
feels so
in our
nostalgic.
school, that became really popular after I asked my friends to play it. And then teacher said you cannot play anymore hand cricket. So then I went and made hand football. And then they were like figuring out that we are showing hand numbers and all. They banned that. So then I went, took a piece of paper and pencil and created a game out of that. We used to call it as pencil game,
Okay.
and then started theming it around um, movies and maybe cartoons or other games of that time. Like we created a Pokemon variation, Transformers. Then there was like Hot Wheels racing variation. All these things. At that time, I used to think that at some point it would have been great if I could become somebody who makes games. I did not know the term game designer at that time. I wrote this in some old diary and kept it. I changed schools, and slowly the games died out. I did engineering and then conducted a game event where, inspired by Dan Brown's books, Angels and Demon, Deception Point, and all. Where there's a murder mystery that has happened. Somebody has been killed. He leaves out a message near his before dying in blood. Then you play as a team of code breakers who come, decode the code. A friend of mine created this e-diary using C++. So the codes will become passwords to reveal the diary entries and story of the dead professor, what he was doing, why he was killed. All these things are revealed eventually by the players. So this became really popular back in college. And then I was like very much into electronics engineering at that time. I had gone to US for competitions and all. There I came to know about design, or importance of user-centric design in order to make much better devices. I was back in engineering time. I was thinking like a product that is cheap as well as can do a lot of things um, would be better. But then um, talking to people over there actually opened my eyes about making it user centric and improving user experience. And then for that, I thought I'll go. There's this premium college called National Institute of Design.
Yes.
So I thought I'll apply there for product design or something, and started preparing for its entrance. That's when I came to know that that year they are starting a new division in game design in Bangalore campus. So my second preference was in game design, and then I got through the entrance, got into game design, and once completing my masters, got placed into this company called Moonfrog, which is famous for their Ludo game and Teen Patti games. Uh,
Okay.
and then from there, I worked in multiple companies on, cross-platform games, mobile games, and different kind of mobile games.
Okay, so you
Yeah,
had that bug to create games since childhood, but your teachers banned the game that you
yeah,
created. Okay, so the story was very inspiring actually,
hmm,
and very nostalgic also because we also have played those games, so it felt
yeah.
nostalgic. And so, sir, my next question to you would be, what are the softwares or what are the apps that a user or a game designer actually uses in his day-to-day life, and an aspirant who's aspiring to be a game designer, what are the apps or software that he should be familiar with?
Um, game design is about thought process
Okay.
and having the insight to figure out what is making players interested in this game, having understanding of player psychology, motivations, those kind of things. Software is actually secondary in game design, like purely design. Uh, like once you get specialized, you might use some game engines. You might use advanced Google Sheets or MS Excel. You might create some simulations and all. But for a beginner or a fresher game designer, these things are not a must-have. They are
Okay.
like good to have if you know those things. And once you even specialize further in game design in certain specialized segments like systems design or economy design, having knowledge of SQL is helpful. These are not a must, but knowing is helpful. But yeah, primary thing is about having the understanding, trying making your own games with some other available tools online. Like certain games ship with a level editor, for example, which you can use to create your own levels within the game. So if you are a type of designer who is interested into level design, that is something that you could do. And knowledge of some basic knowledge of some 3D software like 3ds Max or Maya might be little bit helpful, or maybe Blender might be little bit helpful for you while you're doing level designs to showcase it, to create the 3D environment and all. It's again more of a good to have things rather than a must have things. Must have thing is about understanding of games, be able to break down the game into its core elements, what is making it working, having an understanding of the users, different kind of players, have a experience playing different kind of games. Like you may not enjoy certain games that's there in the market, but you play it, you understand what are the interesting elements in it. um, then be able to come up with a lot of ideas, and then filter it out to at least one or two really good ideas. Having the ability to communicate to people and in a way that they get the clear idea about what you have in mind. These are all the skills, or like more what do you say, inherent or foundational skills for a game designer. Softwares are all secondary, in my opinion. You can pick them up. Some of these I mentioned is like good to have, kind of like software knowledges. You need not be the most amazing in these softwares. Just a basic functional knowledge would help you in your journey. A lot of people, like in the olden days when there was no degree in game design, they got into game design in some cases through game programming, like creating their own game prototypes. So having an understanding of game coding languages, C sharp, and maybe game engine like Unity, um, or Game Maker Pro might be a little bit helpful in exploring that domain. If you are somebody who doesn't know to code, or if it is too difficult, you can start creating your own board games, and that could be a good place to practice. um, so yeah, that's the major part of softwares and stuff.
Okay. So, sir, say, if someone in college and want to be a game designer, so what would be the probable first step you would suggest to that person?
There are two, three approaches. One could be like you join a game company as an intern or as a QA tester, which does not require any further higher qualification. If you have programming background, you can become an intern programmer, or you can, if you have some management background, you can become an intern product manager or intern producer. And from there, like if you become a intern in a small company, and then if you get converted, you can slowly pick up from there. You can learn from your peers and figure out what you like and then proceed that way. A lot of people I've seen start from QA roles and then either become a game producer down the line or branch out to other domains. Now, the other way is to do a proper course. You can take a bachelor's or a master's in game design from various colleges in India. There is ICAT in what do you say? I think there's in Chennai, Bangalore. There's ICAT.
Yes.
Then you have DSK in Pune. I think they have shut down right now. But yeah, maybe they have restarted. Then you
Okay.
have some other smaller colleges like Backstage Pass and a few others. Apart from that, you can, if you can get through for a master's entrance at NID, you can do the game design master's program in Bangalore campus, um, which would make you a game designer. That is
Okay.
a path that I had taken. Um, Now, if all of these options are not viable for you, you can try creating your own independent games and then have visibility generated by showing off those games somewhere. And that could be your route into the gaming industry.
Okay. So, sir, you said, the first path you said was to get internship into some companies,
Yeah.
which are into game development. So, one of the important thing to get internship is portfolio. So, what are the games or, what are the designs that one can start making or you had in your portfolio?
So I had in my portfolio some of the games that I had designed back in college, some of the concepts, and in some cases certain working prototypes. You could do the same thing, like there is Unity, there is Game Maker Pro, there is Constructive. These are all game engines. They are software IDEs that can you will need to do some amount of coding or some understanding of logic to make use of these softwares. You can create your own prototypes with that, or alternatively, you can create board games. But with board games, breaking into digital spaces can be a little bit um, harder compared to having a portfolio with digital games.
Okay.
You could also create your own levels in existing games. Um,
Okay.
in Super Mario, I think there's a Mario Creator or Mario Maker software.
Yes, sir.
You can create levels with that. You can check out games that give a level builder or level making platform. Unreal Tournament has a free level editor available from Unreal Engine that you can download it for free and then build your own first person shooter kind of levels.
Okay.
Um, so like that, there are some options available um, which you can use to create some game design related portfolio. Yeah.
Okay, so sir, my last question to you would be, what is one of the tip that you want to give to all the aspiring game designers?
Gaming industry is not an easy industry.
Okay.
Um, okay, I mean every industry has its own pros and cons.
Yes,
The
sir.
pro would be like work is really fun.
Hmm.
People are very chill. You can what do you say? Everyone enjoys games. You like we used to play games in office as well. There's a PlayStation. There is few games and stuff available within the office itself. When you're free or after office hours, you can go and play those things. Having said that, gaming industry is always competitive. Um, you need strong passion in order to kind of like keep up when the project involves a lot of extra hours or something like that. Um, yeah, and what do you say? If you are looking for better salary, then game programming would be a little bit more better approach or better route. Game design is also all right in terms of pay, but generally game programmers get paid a little bit more uh, in the gaming industry. And generally, I've seen the game artists getting paid a little bit less, although they make up for it with doing a lot of freelancing and other additional income sources, which is much more much more accessible to game artists.
Mm.
Um, and then other option could be to do an MBA and become a product manager, which comes with high pay and high responsibility. Yeah, so if all of these are not feasible, you can even do a data science thing and join a mobile gaming company as a data scientist. Um, that is also a viable position with good salary and stuff. But yeah, nothing. According to me, nothing amongst these beats the fun of creating games and coming up with the rules and the theme concept. Um, and I felt like maybe it's just my personal opinion, but I always feel that the creative fulfillment that you get out of that is unparalleled. And being a game designer allows me to experience that.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. So true. So thank you, sir, for this lovely, powerful, and guiding session. And I hope that all the aspiring game designers or game developers would have got a good insight of what is, when they will go into a game designing or development company, what their role would be or how could they join it. So thank you, sir, and it was a very pleasure to have you on our show.
Thank you. All the best and good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Bye bye.
Bye, sir.